Hello YouTube. Been a while since I've done a video on a rifle or with a rifle, and now that the range is starting to get a little more thawed out and things are getting a little more organized, I can hopefully get back into some better videos. But this might be a two-parter with this particular gun. This gun here, I don't know how really well to describe. I have been looking for a gun like this for a long time. This is a custom-built 91 Mauser carbine, basically the 88 commissioned Mauser, or commissioned rifle. Technically they're not Mausers. This is a 91 carbine, and the way you could tell is the bolt handle was bent down, and also because of the way the safety, the way the design of the gas release on the safety. This particular gun, the only thing really that was original to it as far as a military rifle is the magazine where the Mannlicher mag exits, the bolt, and the action itself. Everything else was completely gone over probably about 100 years ago by the great gun makers in Suhl, Germany. It has a probably one of the nicest barrels you can get. It's got a BohlerStahl barrel. And that was the Bohler brothers. And they were fascinating on their own. The Bohler brothers, Albert and Emil, were steel makers. And these guys were absolutely phenomenal quality. Their steel is actually considered was considered a premium at the time. And if you look at the logo that they used, you will see a star on it because they were Jewish. These actually were Jewish steel makers. And in 1933, they removed the star logo and they moved to Austria because of things going on in Germany. But their steel is considered, and the company's actually in this business to this day. It doesn't make gunmetal, as far as I know, or for gun barrels, but they do. It's no longer called BohlerStahl. It's got a different name to it. It's got several parts, but it's still in Austria. It's still there, and they were just that good. The gun was sold through Eduard Kettner out of Koln, and which is on the barrel. I've got pictures. But it's going to be easier just for me to show you pictures of the detail work of this gun. This gun was completely gone over. The barrel was replaced. The barrel is a half octagon barrel. I'll just kind of drift along here. You can see the barrel. It's got express sights. It's actually in claw type scope mounts. But if you look all the way down the barrel, it's got a rib and it's engraved the entire length of the barrel. There is actually checkering on the sights themselves. Probably for heat reflection. This is all stippled. This was done one slight punch at a time. As was this. As was this. All the screw heads on this gun are engraved. Every one of them. They even put in a wedge type release like you'd see on a muzzleloader. That's engraved. It's hard to tell now. You can see it more on the inside. But this entire gun was case colored. Then, of course, you can see the double set triggers, which do work and work very, very well. And, of course, there's the stock, which is not a military stock. It was a custom stock, and, of course, it's got the checkering. And this gun is literally, this gun's a work of art. This gun, if you were to make it today, it would cost you thousands of dollars. You would have to go through, I've been kind of looking around, because, I mean, you can even see some of the engraving here. You know, it's astounding the amount of work that went into this gun. And to try to do a gun like this today would cost thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. The closest I can think of would be Holland and Holland, or Rigby. That was the equivalent. This gun was the equivalent of a Holland or a Rigby. Now it is 8mm Mauser, but it is the earlier version of that round, which has the .318 diameter bullet instead of the common, which is what pretty much 90 some odd percent of your Mausers out there in 8mm are .323, and this gun was taken probably before 1905 and redone. The proof marking on the left side, which is pretty much the only markings left on it, along with the stampings under the barrel. There's a lot of stamp marks and proof marks under the barrel. Were done before 1912. So this gun was before 1912, at least the action. And judging by everything else, I would say this gun was put together probably around the turn of the 20th century. This gun is, in the neighborhood of 120 years old. And it's exquisite. It's unbelievable the amount of just meticulous work that's in this gun. I literally spent about a month at the gun shop that had this, researching this gun before I decided I wanted it. I wanted to make sure it was in a caliber, because there are no caliber markings, because all the stifling has done away with it, and it was at a time period before they had to do that in Germany, when they changed the gun making laws, because they actually have laws on proof marking and everything else, which changed in the 1930s. You had to mark them. And that was another law around 1912. In the 1930s, they changed them a couple of times where the caliber had to be marked. But before that, they did not have to mark them. And that, again, points this gun around the turn of the 20th century. And it is just one of these guns you don't see. You very rarely run across something like this. In all my travels on even doing research, spending a month doing research, going online, I have only found 3 other guns that were like this. One, and none of them are identical. One of them, the scope mounts are back here because it was a later version where this was dished out and the stripper clip guides were put in, so it was converted to 8mm Mauser that did use the .323 diameter bullet. Another one was in a larger 9mm Mauser cartridge. And the third one that I found of these guns is actually a single shot. This was all completely redone so that the gun was a single shot stocking rifle, and it had nowhere near the level of engraving and this work done. It was basically this gun, sort of a plainer version of this. With just a simple sights and not quite as ornate. But just going online and going through the selections on Holland and Rigby, the closest gun they'd have that would come into this would be in the $5,000 to $6,000 range at least, just to start with, and that's before you even get into the real engraving. Because this is all time. This is not just talent, but it's all time. Every one of these literally is a single. To feel it, it's amazing. But there's all one little punch after another. And then of course you have the engraving here, and it's an amazing gun. It really struck me that I could not believe this gun, and this gun was not all that expensive. Most people really just didn't know what it was. They saw 8mm Mauser, they really didn't want to mess with it. I actually slugged the barrel for the gun shop to make sure we had the correct bullet diameter. And once we had all the details and everything, I did some horse trading and did a couple of trades for a couple of rifles of mine, and ended up with it. And this is basically going to be a hand-loading only proposition. I have gotten this to the range. I did find a Mannlicher clip, so I don't have to load it as a single shot. And I took it out to the range with a very light hand loads, because those early 8mm Mausers were only about 2,000 feet per second versus the much faster, later, hotter rounds with the Spitzer bullets. So you've got to be careful those early, and this is not a Mauser 98 action, so this is not going to handle what the Mauser 98 handle. It's still a strong gun, it's still a very good gun, but it won't really, and I'll tell you now, after shooting this gun, you don't want those in there, because this gun is light. This gun in this configuration maybe weighs, I'm going to guess, 7 pounds. It's extremely light. There's nothing to this gun. It's very, very comfortable pointing, shooting gun. I took it out. I only loaded up a few rounds, 196 grain, .318 diameter bullets. With light loads, I'm probably getting around 2,000 feet per second, and that's probably stretching it. And at 30 yards, the gun shoots a 1-inch group. Now I'm only testing it. My next group will be at 50, and I'm going to shoot it out to 100. I did test this sight out. This other second sight. You can see the two sights here. The taller sight at 30 yards puts it about 2 inches above the center of the target. It's amazing that I did not have to touch these sights. I didn't have to do anything to these sights. It was dead on, right out of the... and you can actually see the markings here where the gun was regulated. You can see where they had lined up the sights here, and you can just make out where the gun was regulated. You can, the same with the front sight. The front sight you can't even adjust. It is not adjustable for windage elevation. You cannot. The only sight you can adjust is the rear sight. But at 30 yards, they are dead center, and it's amazing that it was just right out of the gate. As far as getting a scope, I have seen a few scope mounts for this. I have to really look at them to make sure they would fit. You can even see the workmanship around this. You can see how nicely checkered and set up these claw type scope mounts are. I can get them. The scopes and the scope mounts for something like this they're expensive. I thought about it. I really don't hunt with a scope as it is, so I probably won't. If I ran across one I really liked, like a short, because it's got to be a long eye relief scope because of how far forward it is. So I'd have to get something. I'd like to get something around a 3 or 4 power scope, something from the correct time period, to make it look like it belongs on this gun. I mean, it is just a fascinating piece of equipment. It's amazing how well built this rifle is. It's astounding. So, I mean, I'm hoping to shoot this more. This is not a gun that I'm going to shoot a lot, just because I really, do I plan on hunting with this? Yes. This gun is going to be hunted with. This is what this gun was built for. Somebody spent a lot of money at one time to buy and build this rifle, and it will get shot. It will get hunted with, but it's going to be basically it's going to be a sunny day, nice weather hunting rifle. This is not going to go out when it's raining. This is not going to go out when it's cold or snow. This is going to be an earlier season nice weather gun. I don't plan on doing a lot of wet weather hunting with this, or any at that matter, because it's such a nice piece. It's a piece of history. There are no import markings on this gun, so the only way this gun came into this country was probably as a bring back during World War II or World War I that somebody got their hands on and brought here. I don't know much about the guy who had it and who sold it to the gun shop, other than that he'd had it in his collection for a long time, and I don't even know if he ever shot it. It is one of those guns you're not going to see many of. And with that being said, YouTube, have a good day. Hoping to get some more videos out there on this and a couple other guns I've been tinkering around with, and now that the warm weather's here. Have a good day.